What up, though?
Top dogs.
And welcome to Woodward Heavyweights Live on Sports.com. He's Joe by More Raxter.
Hello.
Chris Nicholas Kohloff, a.k.a. Microwave Nick, a.k.a. the Vikings fan, a.k.a.
Mr. Lock the Vikings.
he's subject to abuse the next 2 days.
Yeah, it is.
And you said you'd be glad to do it, so
Glizzy boy.
No crying.
Little wiener glizzy boy.
no crying.
Here,
Did it to
I'm
yourself.
happy, boys. I was the coldest picker ever, and I picked against the Lions.
dude.
There we go.
Yeah,
took one for
more
the
on
team
that.
there. Yeah,
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you this. This has been the most riveting the hot dog challenge has been.
Yeah.
Since its inception, really. Like people on X are like, "Yo, Nick's in the hot dog suit." The chat yesterday, Nick's in the hot dog suit. So Nick, I'm happy for you bringing some excitement to the segment, even though it's in your discretion.
2 days in a
Or
row.
whatever word I'm looking for here.
Double
Yeah.
glizzied up.
Yeah.
Double shaboing boing. No axle grease.
Jesus.
Thank God for the Steelers.
Shout out.
Shout out to the
Thank God.
Steelers.
Hey, you know who's not in the hot dog suit and is not cold picking? This ugly
boy Chris.
motherfucker right here.
Your
Boy
boy.
Chris.
Boy Chris Platty.
Rich Chris, I'm gonna let you tell the story.
Shout out Caesar
Guys,
Sports.
I don't want to be treated any differently. Yes, I have a lot of money now. Yes, I'm super wealthy. And yes, I have to file my taxes differently, but we are still the same. I'm just a human. I'm a man trying to help my people. I put it in the group chat. You guys didn't trust me.
You did.
It's okay. But I know you guys are happy for me. And I'm rich, bitch.
Chris had a nice parlay over the weekend. Shout out
touchdown
Caesar
one, right?
Sportsbook.
Yes, sir.
Touchdown parlay over 4K.
How many legs?
$50 million.
It was 8, and honestly, you know what's the crazy thing about it was I took out one player because I looked at it and I was like, this is the one I'm unsure of. And I was talking to my guy Noah, shout out Noah, and I was like, this is the one guy I'm unsure of. So I took him out and it was Mixon. It would have made it 8K had that hit.
Bro, what?
Mixon was, I don't know why, I just didn't have a good feeling about
That's
Mixon.
fine.
But he ended up, yeah.
He did.
He got 2, actually. Mm-hmm. And Kareem Hunt. Can you imagine if I did like 2 on any of those players that got multiple? Like Gibbs was in there. Hunt was in there.
Yeah.
A few of them got multiple.
It's a great hit over the weekend, Chris. And my professional opinion to you is to chase that feeling. Just
Forever.
Just keep trying to recapture that feeling you had. You know, you're good now. You won so much money. You can start making bigger bets. Start putting more money on crazy, parlays.
Well,
worth
here's
plus 10 million. Like you'll get it back. You will.
Here's the game plan, boys. Take every dime, put it on the Pistons playoff, retire at 29.
There you
I'm
go.
good.
There
Right
you
off
go.
into the sunset, boys.
Right off into the sunset. Shout out to Chris, though. That was a great hit.
No,
That was
I really
insane
did.
hit.
Honestly, though, it was bittersweet because I did feel bad that we all put bets in the groups all the time. We all try to help each other out. But I felt bad that I was because I have this theory that if you whenever you try to give somebody a bet or whenever you tail a bet, it just never cracks.
Yeah.
So I was I felt kind of bittersweet because I was like, damn, I wish everybody would have took it.
That's
I
fair.
mean, you put it out there.
Yeah.
I didn't love it. There was one on there. I forgot who it was. There was someone on there I didn't like.
Was it AJ Brown? Because that was the only receiver. It was pretty much
really
running
back
backs,
heavy.
and then it was pretty much running backs, and then one receiver and AJ Brown.
You know what you should do, though, to actually be extremely responsible?
I think it was Chubb. Didn't you have Chubb on there?
No,
Cash it all out. Take all $4,000. Go down to the casino. Put it all on black. You could double it just like that.
Yeah.
10 seconds. I'm
No,
just saying.
keep doing what you're doing. I mean, that was.
Yeah, just chase that feeling, man.
I'm telling you, man. Between that and work, if I do that every month, I'm clearing 6 figures, baby.
Yeah,
We're up.
Because it is the the law of gambling that you're going to stay this hot for the rest of your life. So
That's
you should
true.
keep putting more and more money into it.
I think it was Brian
That's
Robinson
true.
Jr. the one that I was unsure about.
Oh yes, he was.
But he's
Yeah,
back.
he
Did
was
he
in
get 2
there.
of them?
Yeah. Did he get 2 also?
He may
That's
have, I don't
crazy.
know.
I think half of them got 2.
That's a crazy hit.
Yeah.
Damn, walking bets. But
Oh my, yeah.
shout out walking bets.
Oh my.
Got to pay taxes on it. See, he
yeah.
doesn't have to worry about taxes because he's just gonna keep winning money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he literally found an infinite money glitch.
Yeah. I literally found the GTH.
Yeah.
I just up, down, left.
Shout out to Chris. He's just going to keep chasing that feeling. Speaking of which, Glizzy boy, how you feeling in there?
Yeah, double lock. Off the disrespecting me, by the way.
You sure you got over on the
I
weekend,
feel
right?
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've hit every bet this weekend to go along with it, you know. Just riding this absolute high right now. No, I'm excited. That was a great Lions game. I'm
Huge
thrilled.
Lions game.
Yeah, they needed to win, and obviously I've just been cursing every team I pick. So there we go. I took one for the team, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hear anything other than that.
We
I
got a
got
lot
to
to talk
apologize to the Lions base that, you know,
I would say you're welcome for picking because I'm ice cold on all my picks.
about. So are you going to pick the Titans?
No, no.
All right.
Oh, so then you want the Lions to lose this
we
week.
we know who you're rooting for.
Fade the Lions.
Fade
Y'all say that.
Nick. But we're gonna do a lot
Actually,
today.
no.
Obviously, we're gonna talk about the Lions game. Just an absolutely thrilling victory to take over
yeah.
first place of the NFC North. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Brian Branch, Jake Bates, Josh Pascal, a lot of different players that really stepped up. But one of the biggest guys to step up, one of the biggest guys so far this year for the Lions, has been quarterback one, number 16, Jared Goff. Went out there and just had another brilliant performance. His third consecutive perfect first half of football. He has been absolutely dialed in. He
Yeah.
has been playing at an MVP level these last 4 games. It's so impressive. If he continues to play like this all year, he's going to win the MVP.
we're going to talk about it. It's definitely on the sheet. Don't talk about it now. How about you tell us about your weekend shenanigans?
Oh,
Your
yeah.
recruiting efforts to,
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
try better the Detroit Lions.
Yeah. You know, I'm Coonan got the best of me on Friday. I'll just say that. You know, they got the shout out Coonan, you know, free sponsor because I go there all the time. I've been going there for years. It's my spot. They got Immortal Undead, which is a mead that they make, and it's like 14%. And so in between the drippas, you know, that are 9.5%, we do shots of this Immortal Undead. That had me torn up. And I ended up sliding in the DMs of some Lions players and some hopefully potential Lions players. And I put some words out there. And I was actually proud of myself because they were all very articulate, well-put messages
They
with
were.
correct punctuation and spacing. I was like, wow, this is... I put out a banger tweet, too, at like 3 in the morning. 2
Which one was it?
paragraphs. The one about Aiden Hutchinson
Crosby?
and Crosby. Yeah. And so we got the evidence of my drunken debauchery here.
Here's one of them.
Here is one of them. This one was the Hutch. Yeah. Started it with just the I love you. You know, I hope you're recovering well. And then just explained to him the future of what the Lions defense would look like with him and with Max Crosby across from him. So just you know, rest up, big dog. You're throwing a weights, telling him he's the defensive player of the year this year. Love Hutch. He put out a video saying that he's doing well with recovery. And the next, we got another one here.
Another teammate.
This one's Amik Robertson, telling him, you know, because Amik Robertson obviously played with Max Crosby last year. So I assume he's got him on Snapchat or he's definitely got his number or something like that. So I told him he's got to send a snap of them in the locker room celebrating after they popped the Vikings to Max Crosby. And I put some of the nicknames that we could have for Max Crosby and Aiden Hutchinson, the White Walkers, you know, White Castle established
yeah.
97, 98.
They're equally spaced out, too. I appreciate that. That makes them more, you know, legible.
The difference between north and south of 8 Mile, and then I just put Super Bowl champions because that's what people would call them.
That was at 316.
That was at 316, yeah. And then
This
Nice.
was the heartfelt, emotional one.
This was a heartfelt, emotional one. This is
My father,
my,
75 years
this
old.
one was to Max Crosby, you know, explaining about how much him coming home and winning a Super Bowl would mean in this city, how much it would help. And I use my father as an example because he was alive, he was kicking when when the Lions won their last championship, so he could see both. And I also said that sent to Max Crosby at 3:13 a.m.
That's the cool part about that one. That
Didn't
one being
even-
at 3:13 on the dot. That's
Didn't even notice
that
that.
means something.
might mean something. I believe. I don't think was he at Eastern or just he was posting about the game.
He wasn't at Eastern, but it was their it was Eastern's homecoming, and it's obviously
Eastern Central.
The Max Crosby Field is in Eastern because he donated a bunch of money for it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hey
Come
man,
on home.
come home, Max.
Can you get you to read one of these out loud?
You want me to? All right, I'll read.
Which one, chat?
Which one do you guys
One
want
to
to read?
Max.
I can't go into
The Max
Max.
Crosby
You
one?
got to hear the
Can you give
recruit.
us can you give us your recruiting?
I got it here, Chris. You can just leave me on the screen.
All right.
My father is 75 years old and is the biggest sports fan I've ever seen in my life. I got my drive from him yelling in the garage, whether he was watching the Wings or the Tigers, the Lions or the Stones. You coming home would be the greatest day of his sporting life. This is a man who saw 56. He was literally alive the last time the Lions won a chip, saw the 84 Tigers, had me on his shoulders for parades for the Wings and the Stones. But you coming home would be the happiest day of his life. I can guarantee it, because it would solidify back-to-back Super Bowls for the Detroit Lions. Please come home, brother. I got you on free smoke for life if you do. And that offer stands. Max Crosby, if you come to the Detroit Lions, I will pay for your weed for the rest of your life.
I respect it.
Yeah.
That's a commitment.
It's a commitment. And I am a man of honor.
Are there terms and conditions?
No.
Like just not your friends.
No,
Don't call me
yeah.
when you're having a party.
If he needs a bag, I'll order him a bag.
What if his bag is like beyond?
I'll order him a bag.
Make it work.
I'll make sure he's got weed in his hand whenever he wants it.
Amen.
So, shout out to Max Crosby. You know what to do.
Doesn't
respect
Snoop
that.
Dogg's blunt roller make like an insane amount
Yeah,
per year?
like
Yeah.
$70,000
Like six-
for years.
Oh, 70?
Yeah.
Damn. Still. God damn.
To do that.
Just to
Could you
roll
imagine?
blunts.
I
I can
must
do that.
be
I can pearl some
hurling.
blunts, Snoop. So you need backup. Like, just throw me like $25K a year.
Get it in. Bro, I mean, I don't know if we're gonna talk about this one, so maybe you got it real quick, Nick. Those unis, the Leatherheads.
I did not like them at all.
You didn't like
I
'em?
heard-
Of course
They're
you did.
fire.
I heard you guys mention them. No, I just thought it looked corny as all hell.
Of course you did.
They look great.
I did not think so.
You liked them? You didn't like
I
them
don't know
before
if
the
I-
ass whooping or after?
I mean, I don't even know if I liked that look to begin with, like the old school Leatherhead and like
That was
it's
Steve.
Oh,
Those
that's so
helmets were
hard.
fucking
Well,
sick.
they're going up against Michigan, kicking their ass, so that might have had a little thing to do with it for you.
Maybe a little bit.
For a little bit.
No, I
yeah.
saw them before the game. I was like, these are dope.
No, I mean, obviously, I did not think so. And if they were playing state, central, western, it would not have mattered what they were playing. I did not like them at all.
Wow.
But that's just based on, I mean, that's an appearance thing. It's visually pleasing to
they
you or
looked
not.
great.
I didn't think so.
The helmet's the sickest part. It's homage to the Leatherheads.
Yeah, I thought they were pretty sweet.
Guys who made it happen for us all. Will you say something? I apologize.
No, I was just gonna go to break.
Go ahead.
Say we got a lot of Detroit Lions to break down. Make sure you smash that like button. We're gonna be talking.
The dude in the hot dog suit says they're corny.
I think
That's in the
I
chat.
think we should go right into the Lions stuff first and save the where we were right, where we were wrong for later.
I'm with the shits.
So we're gonna talk about Jared Michael Goff after this break. Be ready for that because this guy is on tear. Tell us about Mark White.
But first, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, whoever it may be, someone's coming. Hit up my guy Mark White. You guys purchase your new home here in Michigan, 248-290-8242, or visit markwhitesales.com. You can save you up to $5,000 on the closing costs of your new home. It's markwhitesales.com.
And let me tell you about Caesars Sportsbook. If you want to be rich like Chris, all you got to do is go to Caesars Sportsbook. $1,000 is a bonus bet if your first bet loses. If you use code word Woodward 1000, it's a free bet up to $1,000 using code word Woodward 1000. Caesars Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Woodward Sports.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and woodwardsports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
To
prove that you can get just as strong at Planet Fitness, we're seeing if people can tell the difference between our 75-pound dumbbell and a 75-pound dumbbell from an overpriced competitor gym. Okay, the old flick test, that never fails.
There's literally no difference.
Plus, you can save $28 or more when you join today. Wow.
Why would I pay more to lift the same weights?
It's the Planet Fitness Strong Choice Sale. Save $28 or more. Join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. Planet Fitness. Light price, strong choice.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy and Thursdays during Ermanni and Edwards, where he offers top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy that DMAC trusts. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsAndSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.
What up, though, and welcome to Woodward Heavyweights live on WoodSports.com. Make sure you guys smash that like button, be a friend, tell a friend. I'm Easy. That's Spimo Rax.
Hello.
We got young Chris, Nicholas Kohloff, a.k.a. young Glizzy Boy. Smash that like button, be a friend, double shaboing boing, no axle.
Baby Gliz in the audio booth.
Do. All right. But today we're here. We've gathered to talk about our Lord and Savior.
Yes.
Jared Thomas Goff.
He has shown the light.
He has shown the light. This guy is playing out of his mind.
Yes.
We did the by the numbers segment. We kind of looked at what he's done in Minnesota. Every single time he's faced them, or at least Brian Flores' defense, every time he faced them, alongside Ben Johnson, and it's been 70+ completion percentage every single time. He did it again, Spinny, but this way, 88%. Mm-hmm. 88% completion percentage against the defense that's been surmounting the entire football league. And no, it's not been an easy path for the Minnesota Vikings.
No.
They played the 49ers.
Yes.
They played the Texans.
Yes.
They beat them all.
They did.
They played Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers as well. They beat every single one of them. Jared Goff, 88% completion percentage. And it's a 3-game streak. Go back to June 22nd this year. We played the clip of Tom Brady talking about the cohesiveness, being a part of his success in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I think you guys all know by now Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, the longest tenured coordinators in the NFL at this moment.
Yep.
Not only has Jared Goff been a part of making that system, he's also been in it 3 years now. And we said on June 22nd that you're going to see the best season from Jared Goff yet.
Yeah.
He's at a career high 74% completion percentage right now, Spinny. 3 games this year, he's gone in perfect in the first half. I've seen the first perfect game in my lifetime. Jared Goff, for the first time since the Detroit line, I've never been the one to say, oh, he's MVP, oh, he's top 5, this. Right now, that conversation, he's playing just as good as football as anybody in the National Football League. And yes, Jared Goff is an MVP candidate for the NFL right now.
They say on the third day, Christ rose again, right? On the third day, he rose from the dead. Well, after the third game, Jared Goff has ascended into rarefied air as a quarterback in the NFL. Do you have the stats of his last 4 games? The graphics I sent. This is stuff that guys don't do in the NFL. The other one with the
there's a bunch of them
Goff's, just Goff stats.
Sorry, there we go.
There's even a bunch of those too.
Oh yeah, not that one. The one I
You gotta
sent.
specify.
Which one?
Yeah, the one I sent with that same one.
All right, I'll find it. Give me a second here.
Yeah, Jared Goff's last 4 games, I believe it was from Ari Mirov who tweeted it, but he has been the best player in the NFL over the past 4 weeks of the season, and it's really not that close. He has done things that other quarterbacks haven't, and this, right here. In his past 4 games, 76 of 91, that's 83.5% completion percentage. 1,086 passing yards, 9 touchdown passes, 1 touchdown reception, 144.8 passer rating, and a 4-0 record. Goff has posted 140-plus passer rating in 3 straight games, a feat that only 3 other quarterbacks in NFL history have done. And he's got the Titans next week. This guy, Jared Goff, has been on an absolute tear, and it's extremely impressive. This game specifically, if you want to say his perfect game, was the best game that he had, or the Dallas game was the best game he had. You can argue that. I'm not going to be mad at you. I liked the Vikings game the most because I was seeing things that I haven't seen out of Jared Goff in a while. Jared Goff, when he normally goes off, he has a typical Goff masterpiece where he's getting the ball to the spot at the perfect time to his receiver. They catch it on the run and they're gone. And he's making these great passes. In the Minnesota Vikings game, we were seeing Jared Goff staring down pressure from Metellus, from Van Ginkel, whoever it was, stepping into the throw and delivering bullets down the field. He was picking apart the Minnesota Vikings defense. It was extremely impressive. He was deadly against the blitz. I believe he was perfect passing against the blitz for over 100 yards. This guy, Goff, was delivering balls that I haven't seen him deliver in a Lions uniform. The ball was coming out of his hand crisply, sharply, missiles down the field. Like I said, stepping into the face of an open rusher and delivering a strike, shaking off the arm of a pass rusher on his shoulder, stepping up in the pocket and delivering the ball down the field. It was just an extremely impressive performance, and what he's done the past 4 games has been nothing short of generational.
Truly.
It is. He has been the best player in the NFL over the past 4 weeks, and it's not close.
Jared Goff was blitzed on 58% of his dropbacks yesterday by Brian Flores. Jared Goff finished 14 of 16 for 149 yards and a touchdown, with 9.3 yards per attempt on 126.3 quarterback rating. On the blitz from Brian Flores, who's mastered the blitz the entire season. As we said, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, C.J. Stroud, you name them. The Minnesota Vikings, swallowed them whole this year. That Minnesota Vikings defense has been dominant. And it started that way in the first quarter, too. And I think that's the other part. Like, we could give you these numbers all day. I think another piece of Jared Goff's success, and the piece that I love about him here in Detroit, the California cool, right? Because you face a lot of adversity in that first quarter. It looked ugly in that first quarter. But for him to remain calm, even in the situations up to rest when he's facing pressure. I think he faced the most pressure he did all year. I think he's like 55% pressure rate. Jared Goff was still balling. And you could talk about even the 4-man rush. The Detroit Lions offensive line, that's known as the best in the league right now, let up a pressure rate of 41%. That's the 4th highest in the week. Jared Goff still dominated against that Minnesota Vikings defense. You can't deny what's going on right now.
That's the difference to me, and why we talked about him being outside of the MVP consideration versus being inside the MVP consideration, and that is because we looked at him as not necessarily a game changer, more of a game manager type of role, a really good game manager role, and one that if the parts are around him, he can succeed. But the difference was this year, you're right, Easy, that first quarter, that's exactly where I wanted to go with it, because how many times have we seen when the Lions lose, it's that first quarter disaster start where the first drive, something bad happens, you don't get, and then you just lose grip of it, and it all snowballs, and the next thing you know, this team loses. And that's how the Lions have typically lost the last couple years under Jared Goff. The difference is this year, he faced pressure. Like when I saw that blitz up the middle, which we know Goff is bad at, I was like, oh man, I was nervous, and he just kept going through it, kept rolling with the punches, turned it around. I'll be honest with you, I did not expect him to win after those first couple drives. I didn't. And then he turned around. That's the difference. That's now not being a game manager. That's being a game winner. That's being an MVP. That's the difference for Jared Goff.
And he had the Vikings defense, which had been the best defense in the NFL up to that point, visibly frustrated on the sidelines. You saw guys.
Well, they did a shot at Brian Flores.
Like Brian Flores and Van Ginkel and other guys on the sideline, like, they don't know what to do. After those first 3 drives where they're pumping their chest and they're all hyped because the Lions didn't get a first down, then you go bust off 4 drives in a row resulting in touchdowns. Just extremely impressive by Jared Goff. The offense as a whole, they had the Vikings pissed off.
And when you think about that success that they've had, Spenny, the last 3 quarterbacks they've played, Rodgers 3 picks, Love 3 picks, Stroud 2 picks, Jared Goff 0.
Yeah.
Through a clean game in Minnesota. And talking about that pressure, the biggest throw to me in that game was St. Brown down the post, literally threw the ball perfectly, stayed in there. Sewell coming by with that second block to give him that extra second to step up, make a beautiful throw down the field. And I thought that was a game-changing moment in the game where he was like, yeah, I'm not scared of this team. Like, flat out.
That
I'm
was the
sitting
one
in the pocket, and I'm throwing a dime.
I think there might have been 2 moments in that game, and I think that's one specifically for me that I realized, like, oh, shit, this guy's in the zone. It's the one that's funny talked about where Minnesota Viking got their hand on the shoulder pad. It's like, fuck off, man. And then whip that bitch down the field to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then Penei Sewell out there. I mean, I think I might have put it in Slack. I don't know. I'll put it in later. But, like, blocking 2 human beings for 2 consecutive weeks in a row for Jared Goff to make that throw, a touchdown throw, might I add, to Amon-Ra St. Brown. The slot merchant. Mm-hmm. That was a beautiful ball by Jared Goff.
Perfect ball.
I mean, it was excellent. And this is the part, too, where I know people are going to get mad with me specifically. There's no I told you so in this. This is a career-high passing percentage for Jared Goff. 74% on the year right now. 3 perfect halves. This is something that's never been done.
No.
Since I believe Peyton Manning maybe had one time where he was up there with completion percentage, not the perfect halves.
No,
I'm sorry, not the perfect game, I should say.
It's insane. And like I said, it's not just him hitting guys in the zone, in the spot. He is delivering throws and just absolutely picking defenses apart. It was the most impressive game I've ever seen him play. It was just a masterclass.
And even if some of it is delivering the ball with the guys, that's a plus in itself. Mm-hmm. Again, if you want to put up Christian on halftime, I don't care, but like 622. We had this conversation with Tom Brady said it. The cohesiveness, being within the system this amount of years. You can say how many people you want towards Jared Goff. He knows where his guys are going to be. 3 years in the system. He knows where his landmarks are. Like, even if you had success against him in the past. Now, I'm talking about even within the division. I'm talking about the Packers, maybe even the Bears this year, too. It's times or moments where you caught Jared Goff in moments of weakness. Okay, that's all right. He has the same coordinator. He has majority of the same offensive line. He knows how to correct that moving forward. At least he has an idea of how to correct that moving forward. He can now hit the line and check out of those situations that maybe caught him in a little bit of trouble before. This is a different version of Jared Goff, and that's why I think you finally can have him in the MVP conversation. And I usually been the one to rain on the parade to bring a little dose of reality. The reality is Jared Goff is an MVP candidate.
Yeah. This is the offense 401 that we were advertised. This is the offense 401 that we were expecting, and it's guys going out there and performing to levels that we haven't seen. This is the best ball of his career, and it's really not that close. It's just so impressive to see how comfortable he is running this offense, to see how everybody's eating. Jamison Williams, your number 1 receiver up to this game, had 1 catch for -4 yards. Yeah. And Jared Goff arguably had the best game of his career. Just crazy stuff.
Yeah, I was very impressed by Jared Goff yesterday, without a doubt. I mean, I don't expect it to slow down. No. Again, this is kind of like what – I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like I said, his best year, I think it was coming. But to the tune of, like, where he's only having, like, 2 incompletions a game, I mean, that's fucking insane, dude.
It's insane stuff.
Even while pressure. We gave you the pressure number. He's still booing numbers under pressure. He's actually – go up, put the 30-13 one, the one with the graph. Yep. Right now, after that game on Sunday, he was 15th heading in. Now, because they pressured him 55% of the time, or at least blitzed him 55% of the time in Minnesota, he is the number 1 quarterback when pressured. I can't read the top line of that stat bar. Yep. What does it say, Chris?
Let me zoom in a little bit. Actually, I can't even read it from my zoomed in angle. Let me zoom in a little bit for you there.
I believe it's quarterback rating against pressures. Yeah. But I just didn't know.
Yeah,
success rate when 46.4.
He's ahead of Jaden Daniels, Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, and Lamar Jackson. He is unfazed in the pocket this year.
And one of the biggest numbers that stands out to me, too, when you talk about this 4-game stretch that he has been the most elite quarterback in the NFL, he's been throwing the ball around 23 times per game. Yeah. And that's how you make this guy the best version of himself, where you're not asking him to throw the ball 40 times a game. You can run the ball, have Jared be extremely efficient, and be comfortable when he does face that pressure because of that. And if you keep his throwing attempts around 23, 24, 25 a game, you're going to win a lot of games with this guy.
You sure are.
This is what you're going to get.
And we got a lot of games going forward. We still got a lot to talk about from this game. Big win over the Minnesota Vikings. But, Nick, tell us about pregame show.
Woodward and Maine. Every single game day in Detroit. It's every Sunday, 8 to 9 a.m. with rising star Matthew Broder and Detroit sports media legend Terry Foster. Make sure you guys check out Woodward and Maine. And after that, make sure you check out the New Holland Brewing Company Lions pregame show. It's with Neil Rule and Sean Belegian, and they bring you the best Lions pregame show in the city. Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon on Woodward Sports and live at Second Best Bar in Detroit for the home games. Join us. Brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Taller Your Local Long Drink, Sabbath Coffee, Tullamore Dew, Irish Whiskey, and Les Stanford Chevrolet.
New Holland Brewing, let me talk some more about that. They've got the Taller Long Drink. It is a gin-based cocktail made with real grapefruit puree and single batch New Holland Dutch dry gin. They've also got the Tangerine Space Machine. I was pounding those at the watch party. Make sure you guys tap in. New Holland is a local brewing company, and they're producing great product. Taller Long Drink, Tangerine Space Machine, Peach Space Machine. They got something for everybody. Go check out New Holland Brewing Company when you can.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Is that an octopus in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? You should see what I did there. Go Red Wings! From Octopi Experts, Woodward Sports.
Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you. And catch Woodward Sports Network live from Feldman Chevrolet of Novi every other Monday. Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer.
What up, though? Welcome back to Whatever Waits Live on WoodwardSports.com. I'm joined by Smo Rax,
What up, though?
Chris, Nicholas Kohloff, Chris Platte, the new money Chris Platte. After winning $4K over the weekend. We definitely take some betting advice from him on Friday. Don't do that.
Dude, you're
Don't do that. Real question, Chris.
terrible.
Real question. I think he's 5th in the odds right now. Are you going to put any of that cheese on Jared Goff MVP? Would you put a 10 spot on it?
I'd put a 10 spot on it off the strength. Yeah,
Would you put
I mix my gambling with a little bit of principles and a little bit of logic.
What about
That's how I
$1,000?
$1,000 if I use the Caesar Sports Code? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
that's
smart.
the
That'd
play
be smart.
right there.
That would
That's the
literally
player.
be
That's
smart.
a lot of cheddar right there. You talk about retiring, baby. Put that on Golf right now, the
Yeah.
MVP. You can retire.
Real quick, man, I promise you we'll talk about the rest of this game, too, because what a victory. Like, nothing better than your divisional opponent being undefeated at home. Raucous environment. That place was rocking. Every single Detroit Lions beat reporter that was in attendance made sure to post a tweet giving them their credit and their due because that place was going crazy. And we've given that, this goal chant's kind of clever and whatever, the horn, whatever. But just couple more points to Jared Goff. Last year, he had, I don't know what he finished the year with, but he had a good year. Mm-hmm. A lot of touchdowns, lots of yards, second in passing attempts. Right now, he's 10th with the most yards, 4th for most touchdowns, 19th in passing attempts. Like he's playing highly, extremely efficient football right now that we just haven't seen, not just out of Jared Goff, out of anyone. I think maybe Jaden Daniels was making a case. I think he's the only one up there in completion percentage near Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff's like 73%. Jaden Daniels 75%. But Jaden Daniels also didn't play a game yesterday because he went out early with his ribs.
Yeah.
You have to worry too much about JG getting hurt because not only has the offensive line kind of been pretty solid, but he don't move around like that.
Yeah, he doesn't really take hits.
You don't take unnecessary shots. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's standing. Again, he knows where his landmarks are. He gets the ball
He
out.
did try to run for that first down.
Yeah, he did take a little
that
hit.
was bad.
But see what happened when you try to like, come on, relax.
Don't take that hit.
No,
Yeah,
don't
no.
take that.
Don't
hit.
take that.
And I watched the 22 on that one too. I'm trying to see like he could have gone here, could have went. No, there was no.
There was nowhere to go.
Yeah, he could maybe got out of bounds. I mean, that's about it. But Jared Goff on a generational run. Jared Goff is playing out of his fucking mind. But the Detroit Lions did knock down the Minnesota Vikings from the high horse. The Minnesota Vikings fan base fucking absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
Outside of our guy one bar, of course.
Yeah.
Like talking all that shit. So much to say. So much disrespect. So much like fraudulent claims. All that shit. All Nick's pals had to say. And then after the loss, fucking scatter like
Crickets.
roaches.
Crickets.
Couldn't hear shit. And so except for like one or two guys with big accounts were making absolute bullshit excuses time after time after time after time. Nick, speak on your people.
I knew it hurt him twice. I knew it hurt him twice as much because you know what? We did the same exact thing in baseball. We got into that last spot of the wild card. The Twins choked down the stretch. They absolutely choked. Minnesota sucks at sports right now, for sure. All those guys, they can suck it.
Yeah, there's a couple fans that I like from the Minnesota Vikings. There's some good people out there, but most of them are little assholes. So seeing this team lose the way they did, and making sure that the Lions not only took first place in the NFC North from them, but did it coming off of a bye week and made some things happen while the Vikings had 2 weeks to prepare. Yeah, suck my dick, Minnesota. Like, it's fucking awesome. There's nothing better than beating your division rivals, especially when you go into their house, especially when you're not supposed to win. You're down your defensive player of the year candidate. You're coming off, a team's coming off of a bye week and is prepared so long for you. Some idiot wearing a hot dog locked the Vikings. Like, this is, you had all the odds stacked up against you, but the Lions went in there, overcome adversity in the game. That is something that we've seen as a consistent theme of this team. They are overcoming adversity. You have a 6-point lead. You're feeling good. You go to drive. David Montgomery fumbles the ball. They pick it up. They score a touchdown on it. It was shocking, to say the least. It was a gut punch there. Or sorry, a 5-point lead. They score the touchdown to take the single point advantage. And David Montgomery doesn't fumble the ball, as Chris said every week. Weird. But this team picks David Montgomery up. He is one of those guys that has been a catalyst for this offense. He has been the reason you've won a couple games. Go back to that Rams game opening night. You shoved the ball down their throat in overtime to win with David Montgomery. He has been the reason you won multiple games. So this defense and this offense made sure he wasn't the reason they lost this one. They picked their guy up when he had an uncharacteristic fumble, and they took care of business. Because you know how hurt and how bad he would have felt if that was the reason the Lions lost. They made sure he'd never feel those feelings. They got their boy. They got their guys back. This team is so talented through and through that if a leader of your team makes a monumental mistake like that, it doesn't matter. They'll pick him up. You're still winning the game. It's awesome to see.
Another piece we could speak on, Aaron Glenn. Kind of having to cook up a different scheme there on the fly because you don't have your number one, arguably number one, because Brian Rance may be making another conversation about that. But you arguably didn't have your number one player on the defense, Aiden Hutchinson. You had to generate pressure other ways. And against, the Minnesota Vikings defense, probably the stronger suit of the team, but that offense is nothing to blink at. There's nothing, that offense has been pretty solid as well. Yeah. Sam Darnold, talking about MVP candidates up until yesterday, was in that conversation maybe too. And you have Justin Jefferson, who's the best wide receiver in the game right now. Jordan Addison, more than a compliment guy. And then Speedy Naylor kind of making a name for himself too. AG, man, hats off to him as well. Having to do that on the fly and actually making it work. I believe we still got 4 sacks, I think it was, and 15 pressures. Fun fact, Aiden Hutchinson in the last game had 15 pressures alone. But that, I don't know, Aaron Glenn, man. I fucking shout out to you for cooking that up.
Shout out to Aaron Glenn. We've got a segment coming up about unsung heroes in this game, and there's a couple guys on the defense that I'm definitely going to point out. But like you said, Aaron Glenn, the scheme that he came up with this week to disguise their defense, to disguise whether they're playing man or zone, to make sure that they're giving as little to the Vikings offense as possible. You saw Sam Darnold becoming visibly frustrated with what the defense was giving him. He has 5 different voices on the sideline telling him what to do and telling him in different situations where he should go with the ball. But Aaron Glenn did a fantastic job of scraping together what he could after losing his Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Your secondary was the true gem of this game. The true gem was the secondary. Obviously, Brian Branch and all of the stats that he compiled. But Terrion Arnold and Carlton Davis also just going to war out there with Justin Jefferson and other receivers. When your defensive line isn't giving you quality pressure. And they really weren't until the last couple drives when the Vikings had to throw it. Sam Darnold, he had all day back there. He was standing back there, scanning the field, delivering some throws. The couple sacks that we did have before the garbage time 2, I believe, they were coverage sacks. It was Sam Darnold sitting back there for 8 seconds, nowhere to throw the ball, so he takes off and he runs into one of the Lions defenders. It was amazing game for the Detroit Lions secondary. Holding Justin Jefferson to under 85 yards.
Kind of crazy.
Without Aiden Hutchinson, without bracketing him, it was amazing.
They bracketed him a few times, but still, they put it up the stat up there during the game. In 8 games versus Detroit Lions, the geese surmounted like 1,000+ yards.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what the touchdown amount was. It was like a season's worth of stats, and just 8 games alone against the Detroit Lions. It was kind of like they were like Pro Bowl stats within 8 games. But their season numbers, it was insane. But like you said, AG drew it up perfectly. You hold that guy to 81 points. Obviously, there were some moments where they got theirs, and Justin Jefferson, that's just going to happen. The one touchdown he had against Meek Robinson, which he pushed him, and Meek wasn't phased. But he had that 6'4", 6'3" frame that you just launch out there for that catch, and then also the ability to make the catch. That's just what happened against Justin Jefferson every once in a while. There was one, I don't remember who the pass was to. It was a deep ball on the right side of the field. I don't remember the receiver. It was Addison or Naylor? I think it was Naylor. Yeah. Either way, I mean, the secondary had its moments, but still, just in the situation it was in, without having as much pressure as is used to being generated against an offense with that many weapons to do what they did, extremely impressive by my account. The guy that I want to, just real quick before we get our unsung heroes, just a little nod to, Terrion Arnold was probably the guy I was most nervous for in a situation and matchup versus Justin Jefferson. Held his own.
Yeah.
Held his home each and every time. Even the one catch, no, actually, I don't think it was a catch. It ended up being out of bounds. Terrion Arnold, I mean, have we not seen this kid get better each and every week? That's fucking crazy. Like, you talk about it, but we've watched it game by game.
2 games in a row
better.
without a penalty.
Right.
Well, pass interference penalty.
Yeah, I don't know if he had any in this one, but just the coverage in itself. I'm just used to him being so out of phase, and he was always in phase. Let me not say that, but so kind of just I don't know. The penalties, I guess, was the biggest thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And no, we didn't see that yesterday. We still see him, competing for the ball. Stop it. I mean, what the hell, man?
It's been awesome. It's been trial by fire. It really has been. You look at the receivers that Terrion Arnold has had to guard in his first season in the NFL. From the jump, you got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, and then you got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, then Marvin Harrison Jr., CeeDee Lamb, and now Justin Jefferson. Welcome to the league, Rook. You're getting an elite receiver every single week. Next week is going to be the only week all season where you don't see an elite receiver. Maybe Jacksonville too, but it was so good to see Terrion shining like he has the past 2 games.
Yeah, it was great to see him in coverage. He did have that little brain fart on the setting the edge, but obviously it's just rookie mistake, and we bounced back from it. And
that's true.
He also went up against DK Metcalf.
Yes, DK
Metcalf
shot
the screen before.
Yeah.
Shot to Rodrigo as well.
Yeah.
He had a good game.
Yep. We will get into that later with Unsung Heroes. Let's go to break, though. Tell us about Swiss Insurance.
I'll tell you guys about Swiss Insurance. If you are the Detroit Lions, you're currently on the phone waiting to insure your team, how about you call Mark? Maybe help you land a little Myles Garrett. I don't know. Who's to say? 313-530-1698. Make sure rates are climbing up on you. Make sure deductibles aren't doing the same. My guy Mark will shop rates across the board to get you the best in the business. Mark at SwissIS.com or give him a call. 313-530-1698.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Hamp for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
1800 Tequila is the official tequila of Woodward Sports Lions watch parties and post-game show. Join 1800 Tequila and Woodward Sports every Lions game live at Hayes Social in Shelby Township. Celebrate those smooth wins with an even smoother drink. 1800 Tequila, the proud sponsor of your Detroit Lions. Please drink responsibly.
And before we get into our next segment, we do have some breaking news from Ian Rappaport. 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk does, in fact, have a torn ACL and MCL per sources after the MRI. His season is over.
The air horns, Nick, on that was kind of unnecessary.
I don't know when he says breaking news what it's going to be.
Air horn to season-ending injury.
His knee is tore up.
I mean, let's not act like we're the biggest Niners fans here, but obviously it sucks that he's out for the year.
Somebody,
Come on.
I'm just saying, somebody in this room picked up Ricky Pearsall last week.
Did you?
For the freeze.
Nice. That was a good pickup.
Yeah, I got him in my big money league.
Yeah, Jennings
Needed
really...
him too because Shaheed went down.
Yeah, I think he's off for the season as well.
Yep.
You want to air horn that one, Nick?
Is he on the 49ers?
Deshaun Watson as
No.
well.
Would you? Yeah, Deshaun for the Browns fans.
No,
Yeah, no.
It's low. It's low.
It's all right. it is what it is. Detroit Lions unsung hero. Spinny wanted to get into a little bit. I know we began talking about Malcolm Rodriguez. I know you want to say his name as well, but I give my guy some love. Just coming in here, 4th round pick. I think you and I are the only ones kind of on the bandwagon at that point. We're slowly, obviously, recruiting people onto it. And then we draft Jack Campbell the following year. He doesn't start like he did previously, so people kind of bash his name a little bit. Still a special teams demon and put in work when he had to. Played the fullback position when he had to. Yesterday, without Aiden Hudson, we needed help with the extra pressure. No Derek Barnes as well. You saw him in the same spot. He got a sack. He was in their coverage, stuffed a couple of screens. Actually, a couple of screens there, for some reason, went back-to-back to Justin Jefferson like he was going to fuck us up. 6 tackles, you said, Nick, too?
6th rounder.
Oh, 6th rounder. I apologize.
6th rounder, Malcolm Rodriguez. Yeah. He had 7 total tackles. He had 5 solo tackles. He had the sack. He had a tackle for loss.
Dog.
It was just an extremely impressive day for the guy. And I saw people commenting, like I talked about unsung heroes on Twitter today, and people were commenting like Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell is he's no longer an unsung hero for me. He is a legitimate starting middle linebacker in the NFL. I've seen enough out of him the past, I would say, 4 games to where he has arrived. Jack Campbell has arrived. He is what they expected him to be, and he's going to be a menace in this league for a long time. But our guy, friend of the show, friend of the network, Malcolm Rodriguez,
heavyweight vet.
He stepped in that middle linebacker role because, with Derek Barnes being out, Aiden Hutchinson going down, they needed Jack to use his athleticism and his explosion at that Sam role to try to get more pressure. And so Malcolm ended up filling in a lot of the different plays in that middle linebacker role, and it's just business as usual with that guy. Like, you call his number, he's going to go out there, he's going to give you meaningful, impactful snaps. He is not going to blow assignments, and he's going to take care of business. Like, this is a guy who was Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. This is a guy who was a multi-time state champion wrestler. Like, he has the pedigree that he knows if he gets his hands on you, you're going to the turf. And Malcolm Rodriguez had a fantastic game. It was extremely impressive. We needed him to step up, and he absolutely did it. Another guy who is my unsung hero of this game, Josh Pascal. Josh Pascal was extremely impressive for this team yesterday, single-handedly trying to provide pressure on Sam Darnold from that defensive line. Like, we got to Sam Darnold with a couple blitzes, but when it came down to just defensive line pressures, it seemed like Josh Pascal was the only one routinely getting home and getting back to Sam Darnold to throw him off his spot. He had a great game. I believe he had 4 tackles. He had a sack. He had a tackle for loss. It was something you needed to see. He was battling through injuries. It looked like he messed up his finger or probably just broke a knuckle or dislocated a finger or something like that on his hand earlier in the game. He was back in after a couple plays. You needed an edge rusher to step up on this team with obviously Aiden Hutchinson and Marcus Davenport down for the year. Josh Pascal stepped up in a big role in this game, getting to Sam Darnold and creating havoc. We know how good he is on the run defense side of the coin, but we saw him, like I said, really being the only consistent threat to get to Sam Darnold from the defensive line spot for the Lions in that game. He got home on the 1 sack. He was back there a couple times creating havoc. Josh Pascal stepped up big time for this defense.
Yeah, I just saw in the chat, Steve Wild said DJ Reader was a 48 or something like that on PFF. Fuck PFF.
Yeah.
And again, I got buddies that work there, and we have them on the show, and like, I get it. PFF isn't truth or it's just more standard.
It's narrative.
Yeah, narrative. They're standard. They're what they perceive it as. It's not what actually went down there on the field. I saw DJ Reader make plays in the run game.
Yeah.
I saw DJ Reader command double teams. I don't understand. Like, if PFF was worth however much coverage they've gained now too, but like Jared Goff would have been like a 98 grade in that one. And I don't even believe he was one of the highest graded Lions in that game.
No, I don't think he was.
I don't understand how that happens. Like, I guess I get there was the fumble at the end, but just outside of that, like everything they did to keep him in that game, we said on Thursday and Friday, and we'll get into it a little bit later, but Jared Goff was going to be a catalyst in this game. And every single week I start that segment and I say the run game, the run game, the run game. This week I almost had to like convince myself it was going to be the run game. Because I looked at the numbers, what Brian Flores is versus Jared Goff. Jared Goff carves him up every single time. But no, fuck PFF. Unsung hero of the game for me, Spinny. I got me. I'm unsung. That's a little tougher. I mean, it's easy to praise Penei Sewell. I just want to give him a shout out for the double block he had. Did you peep that?
Yeah.
Blocking 2 human beings again. Nick's got one. Who you got?
Number 17, 2 catches, 25 yards.
That's a good one.
Doesn't sound like unsung too much. You look back at that Amon-Ra St. Brown play. Tim Patrick gets put into motion. Brian Flores bringing pressure off the right side of the line. Patrick pops him, gives him just enough time to step up in the pocket, make that throw. St. Brown's not open on that play unless Tim Patrick makes that block. Ben Johnson, straight playing chess. Everyone else is playing checkers in that situation. When do you see a wide receiver pass blocking?
Yeah.
On a, when they send St. Brown up the post, Tim Patrick, unsung hero, for a block and obviously 2 big catches, and for not fumbling when that was super close of like a call. Thank God it wasn't a fumble.
It was extremely impressive, and I believe Goff made the call at the line because he saw the pressure they were bringing. They were bringing 7 players on that, and he didn't have that many to block. So he makes the call. Audibles Tim Patrick in. Tim Patrick coming in, like you said, it was Van Ginkel too. Like, it was one of their best pass rushers on this team. Would have had a free run at Jared Goff. Tim Patrick comes over there, absolutely stones him, so Goff can make a beautiful throw to Amon-Ra St. Brown. That was an extremely, extremely important play, and not something that you're going to see on the stat sheet for sure.
Tim Patrick also 2 catches at 25 yards. If you guys bet that 21.5.
Yep.
On the over/under that we talked about Friday. Over. Tim Patrick, he's that guy.
Yeah, and I remember motherfuckers saying Tim Patrick shouldn't be on the team.
Yeah.
Just saying. But I'm not bringing up old shit. We're all happy now.
Absolutely all happy. Every hero I have, I was going to say, I guess if Jack Campbell is not considered unsung, everyone that I have is not going to be unsung. My first one was going to be Penei Sewell. Amon-Ra St. Brown, obviously he caught 8 of his 8 that he got.
Can I have an unsung here? I got another unsung here.
You got another one? Another one.
Talk about a receiving core. Remember when we thought this receiving core was so weak, they're not going to do anything? Khalif Raymond.
That's what's going
to Khalif Raymond, 3 catches, 39 yards, and a touchdown, being another outlet for Jared Goff to get the ball out there and make some things happen. Obviously, this game was predicated around Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs when you look at it offensively. But Khalif Raymond being another outlet for Jared Goff to get the ball into, his catch and run to get the touchdown. The man provided impact plays when you needed them. Like I said, 3 catches, 39 yards, and a touchdown. take that any day of the week from
Yeah.
Khalif Raymond.
And if you want to nitpick, even that one throw that we talked about to him that Goff targeted him and it was just a hair off. I mean that gives you that was an extra 20 plus yards.
That could have been a
was like
60-yard
40, yeah.
touchdown.
It was like-
Because he was behind the defense. If the ball would have stayed in bounds, that would have been another long touchdown.
And I
About
would've-
Master Bates. I saw someone put it in the
Yes.
chat. Jake Bates. I mean, this is Dan Campbell, the guy who
Balls of steel.
neglected to kick field goals in field goal situations in the NFC Conference Championship game. He's kind of just drugged through the mud for not trusting his kickers. And here we go in a situation yesterday where there's still time on the clock for you to make plays on second down with like a minute and something to spare to go and maybe score a touchdown, put yourself ahead, and obviously win that game. They opt out to kneel 2 times. And if I'm not mistaken, I couldn't hear the audio. Did they take the penalty on the 4th down?
No.
Okay, they called timeout?
Yeah.
Either way, to go out there and kick that field goal, Jake Bates, I almost had a heart attack. That was unfamiliar territory for me. When have we seen Dan Campbell do that?
No, we've never seen Dan Campbell do that because
It's almost revisit. Remember his first year? I'm sorry to cut you off right there, but remember the first year? There, the lights. What the fuck was going on? Dan Campbell kicked the field goal. We're like, what are you doing, dude? This is the one time to go for it.
Somebody brought up the
Seahawks
Chargers game. The Chargers game from last year. They did that where they
Well, the
gave the ball
Vikings
up.
game in 21, they did it though.
Yeah.
I'm saying. I remember being pissed the fuck off because I'm like, all year you're ultra aggressive. You have an opportunity here to get a first down, close the game, seal the game, and then you have to kick for a field goal out of the guy's range. That shit was that's the angriest I've ever been at Dan Campbell to date. Was that game?
Yeah.
And then he revisits the situation. We're kicking a field goal. Obviously, I'm a lot more comfortable in this situation. I like Jake Bates, and if Dan Campbell's comfortable doing that situation, I feel like he would have learned from that mistake for damn sure.
Jake Bates has the best field goal percentage in the NFL
Get the
because you
fuck
can't
outta
get
here.
any
For real?
100%. It's literally 100%. He is 10 of 10 on the year in field goals. He has one missed extra point, but this guy has been as good as it gets when you look at a kicker in the league. We know that thing connected to his hip has a mind of its own, and he can hit from 70 if he really wanted to.
What we talking about here?
But it's so good to like this. This is the deepest and most complete Detroit Lions team that has ever been assembled in the history of Detroit Lions. Like, they don't have a hole. Now you could say they need an edge rusher. They're still using creative pressures to get to Sam Darnold. You definitely need an edge rusher, but the defense is elite. The offense is elite, and now you have an elite kicker as well.
I know we're going to dive into the edge rusher stuff later, but one last
We'll do it right next. We get some breaking news on that one a little bit.
unsung hero, one last quick one. How about the local kid, Trevor Nowalski?
Yeah.
A sack and a big tackle.
Yeah.
Had to close the gap early on that one, and then the sack to close it. Obviously, it's never over until the clock hits 0, as we saw yesterday. But, yeah, big sack in a key situation because, I mean, every Lions fan in the world was still thinking, gotta get down to zeros because we've seen way too much shit happen late before. So, boom, Trevor Nowalski, shout out.
Shout out Trevor Nowalski.
As the old heads say on the old programming, don't touch that dial. So when we get back, we got some breaking news regarding Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions maybe making a trade to bolster up this pass rush. But first, tell us about Les Stanford.
I will tell you about Les Stanford. What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. That's exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. Same great service the customers come to know and trust. On Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today and find the brand you want at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford, together, let's ride.
Want to know where the best pregame Lions party is? October 27th.
Would I?
Join us at Detroit's very own second best bar.
Okay.
Located at 42 Watson Street for the ultimate fan experience. Enjoy some smooth Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey while catching the Woodward Sports pregame show. Only at second best bar in Detroit. Come get some.
Come get some.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza now has signature wings. They're only available for a limited time, so make sure you get them while you can. They got 7 different flavors. The spicy garlic is personally my favorite, but they got lemon pepper, honey barbecue, buffalo, whatever you want. Soroki's has them. To find some Soroki's near you, go to Sorokis.com.
Smash that like button, be a friend, tell a friend. Welcome to the Heavyweights. I'm Easy at Spin Morax, Young Chris, Nicholas Kohloff.
Yeah.
We got Beth in the building. Guys, Dan Campbell's asked. This is going to be on the topic sheet regardless no matter what. After watching the game, after watching that defense, do you still feel the need to acquire an edge rusher?
Yes.
Well, Dan Campbell was asked that question directly today during his press conference, and he had this to say, Nick, or Chris, spin that shit.
A little time to look. What did you think of the pressure from the edge yesterday? And based on that, does it make you more comfortable with what you have, or maybe more open to changing the room?
Yeah, let me start with this. I'm glad you brought this up. Man, I thought the coordinators did an outstanding job, all 3 of them. I thought they were on top of their game. And I thought Ben had a great game plan, and I thought, man, he was on it the whole game. I thought Phipp developed a great plan. Those guys were humming. And lastly, man, I thought AG, I thought everything that we went in this game said we had to do and the way we had to play, it wasn't perfect, but my God, those guys competed, and it gave us a chance, and they executed a high level. An area where we can be better is, there was some things where our coverage really had to, we asked them to do a lot, and they had to hold on a little bit. And so there was a number of things where we fabricated some rush. We got there a few times, but to answer your question, we need just a little bit more. There was a couple of them that did get long. A couple of these plays that you like to believe we can get somebody there just a little bit sooner. So, look, we'll keep working with it. AG's going to keep developing a great plan. I mean, he's a stud as a defensive coordinator. I mean, he maximizes everything we have, and we'll figure it out, So, but I was proud of the way they battled.
I ran that as breaking news because I know it's been a divisive topic when it comes to Detroit Lions fans. For some reason, for whatever reason, there's a faction of Lions fans that don't want to get better as a team during a Super Bowl run for whatever reason. I mean, they have their reasons. I just personally don't agree with them. But I ran that as breaking news because that's Dan Campbell confirming to you that they, yes, are looking for more.
Yeah.
We need a little bit more. And there's also some rumors. Obviously, the Raxter stuff broke last week. Some rumors. The conversations have been had between the Detroit Lions and the Cleveland Browns. There's mutual interest between Zarius Smith and the Detroit Lions. There's another defender, though, on that Browns defense. Following that news, that teams are inquiring, poking around about Myles Garrett. And I know that's one of the names. It sounds a little crazy, but we talked about how their season was going before, why that made sense. Well, now it's going even worse, maybe in the eyes of that front office because they continue to start him. He's out for the season.
Yeah.
Torn Achilles to Deshaun Watson. You got to recruit some assets at this point. You got to build a team around this guy. You have Myles Garrett in the contract without you haven't been anywhere.
No.
You won a playoff game with Baker Mayfield. He left. You had Myles Garrett throughout the entirety. You've been in the playoffs again one more time, I think, with Joe Flacco, but you haven't done anything. You haven't won anything. I think it's time to pull the plug on that project, ship him off to Detroit. And I do think this one's a little bit more realistic than the Max Crosby one.
Yeah. With all due respect, if you don't want Max Crosby or Myles Garrett on this team, you're an idiot. Like, it's the only reasonable explanation. But we even talked about it, that those guys might be a pipe dream. Those are, the things that would keep us up at night if they happen. We would not be able to get any sleep if one of those moves were made. So I even said that the realistic explanation is you need to get somebody. You need to get somebody. And we talked about this Darius Smiths. We talked about Trayvon Walkers, different guys like that. I put it plainly and simply, the guy who leads this team in sacks cannot be on the roster right now. At the end of the year, the guy who has the most sacks on this team cannot be on the roster right now. You need to go out there and you need to get an edge rusher that is going to get you at least 10 sacks. Sam Darnold had all day in that pocket. The only way you got to him outside of one Josh Pascal sack was by sending linebackers and sending more guys to get pressure on him. You need to go out there and recoup your lost asset of Aiden Hutchinson as much as you can. Obviously, if you get Myles Garrett or Max Crosby, that's a 1-for-1 and you're right back into it. But you need to get somebody. And Zadarius Smith would be a perfect fit.
And to be honest with you, too, I had this conversation with Dion last week. If Zadarius Smith is a target, I don't see that as the only trade you're making.
No.
I believe that'd be, in conjunction to another move, maybe for the Sam linebacker spot. And there's also some rumors out there about Josh Uche from the New England Patriots. You're missing your Sam.
Michigan guy.
Reunite him with Aiden Hutchinson next year. But you're missing your original Sam and Derek Barnes. You never really had a replacement for it. That's kind of, you tried that with Betts. You tried it with Houston. Nothing really seemed to shake. You made mention of how important his versatility is to this defense because he could back on the coverage and he could rush the passer if you need be. We'll go grab Josh Uche. I'm sure that's not going to cost you much. And at this point, 32 years old for Zadarius Smith, that's not going to cost you much either.
No.
I wouldn't be upset if you went the two-way route and you addressed two positions at once.
I would not either. That would be, you could bring in multiple guys to have a rotation. Like I said, you just need to get a double-digit sack guy in this building. Right now, you don't have anybody on your team that's going to be a double-digit sack guy this year. So obviously, the prize, the belle of the ball, would be Max Crosby or Myles Garrett. But you need to improve your edge rushing position in the trade market if you want to win a Super Bowl this year.
And talking about Myles Garrett, I mean, they're beefing with the fans right now. The players and the fans, the owners going at it. And he obviously gave Deshaun all that money after making that trade. Like, they are the definition of a dumpster fire right now.
Yeah.
This is no better of a time to reach out about Smith and reach out about Garrett. And you don't even seem desperate at this point compared to what you did before this Vikings game because they were able to still win it. But if you were watching that game, the one thing I will say is you obviously had to bring in a lot of linebackers. You had to bring in pressure a lot against this Vikings offensive line. And you still weren't able to get home, honestly, too much besides the 3 sacks from the linebackers, 1 to end the game. And then obviously Pascal had the other. If you see this line, when we're at our best, we are playing man coverage and we're, rushing 4. Obviously Hutch is gone. You need to make an upgrade. I'd be surprised if this team doesn't do it.
They're going to do it.
Yes, they're going to do it for sure.
And that's, again, I don't know, again, for some reason, it's divisive. Don't know why.
Doesn't make sense.
So that's why I wanted to run the tape from Dan Campbell's mouth himself. I may even think there might be a little bit of a, I guess maybe at some point bumping heads, although Dan Campbell's focus right now solely is the season and game that he's in right now. But I almost feel like there's a little bit of bumping heads there too because it's listening to him, it sounds like he wants a guy.
He wants a guy for sure.
But like more than
because he knows.
Uche, yeah.
And they all know.
And Brad Holmes, his job is to provide for the future. His job is looking forward. Dan Campbell's job is looking now. They both got different destinations in that one, but I'm kind of I side with Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell knows if you get Max Crosby or you get Myles Garrett, you win the Super Bowl.
And it's up to Dan communicating that to Brad Holmes or convincing him of that. Maybe even, I don't see it going this way because they have to work with each other, moving forward. But maybe we got Sheila involved. I'm curious what Sheila's thoughts on the matter is. This is unprecedented territory. That's why you're looking to make a unprecedented move as Detroit Lions. An edge was a need. A Sam was a need before the injury of Aiden Hutchinson. But I think what Zadarius Smith does for you, because I'm not necessarily in love with him as the pass rusher he once was. I don't think he's that anymore. But he's still a guy that can set the edge. He's still a strong motherfucker. He resembles Marcus Davenport's style of play, in my opinion. Just the few reps I watched with him this year.
Yeah, Myles Garrett is one of the most complete players in football.
Getting him, that'd be the biggest one.
That would be beautiful.
Now, the one thing I noticed in this game, and I want to see what you guys feel about, obviously we talk about edges predominantly being their main goal is to get after the quarterback and the value in that. But I do think there is a little bit of not coincidence that the Lions team was able to just dominate and stuff everybody at the run this year. And Aaron Jones, who is a good back, so I gotta give it to him there. It's not some fluke, but
yeah,
he had a good game. And I wonder how much of that aspect that they're talking about, because that's the issue with not playing Houston, right? Is they don't like how Houston defends in the run. So they need to get one of those edge rushers that can help that can help with the run defense as well, because they need to keep that elite. I think that's the core of this Lions defense. That's what makes it go. That's what makes them have to make those crazy throws, which Kirby and Branch and that safety tandem, the best safety tandem, can do what they do best and make plays. I think it all starts, and it's the backbone there. And so I think that's another part to look at. It's not just rushing the quarterback, but also getting after the run.
Yeah,
that's a phenomenal point, Chris.
If you take out that one Aaron Jones 35, 40-yard touchdown run, he would have been right around 50, 60 yards, which is kind of on par for what the Detroit Lions defense does. Like Nick said, it was a rookie mistake by Terrion Arnold. He went too far inside. But no, you're right. They're not just going to get a guy that only does one thing. That's why when I heard the Reddick rumor, I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. But you look at Max Crosby, Zadarius Smith, Myles Garrett, all of those guys, they play the run well. They're game breakers. Not so much Zadarius Smith. But those they're elite at everything.
I did the math on that too. If you take out that run, his 34-yard run for the touchdown that he had, he still averaged 4.5 per carry, and that's out of the norm against the Detroit Lions defense.
It would have been, like 13 carries for like 50-something yards?
Like 12. Yeah, I'm going to see the math, what it was.
Yeah,
but I know it was 4.5.
Carries, so I think it would be
He had
12.
14 total, yeah. 93 minus 34. 59 yards he would have had, which is on the higher end for what guys gone against us, but still gashing us here and there. Maybe losing Hutch was a part of it. He's such an assignment for that offensive line, for the offensive coordinator, like the weekend. You have to assign a certain amount of blockers towards him. I think it did affect that a little bit. We'll see it as it goes on, but definitely in the pass rush, it was missed. 15 pressures this week, but I think it was Nolan Bianchi who put it out there. You had 15 pressures from Aiden Hutchinson alone the previous week. And again, the Dallas team, they're not missing too much on offense outside of Brandon Cooks.
The pass rush wasn't good enough. Good enough. Needs to be improved, but we got the win.
And Sam Darnold's interception was a little bit of a bad throw. Like, it was. You can't rely on bad throws when you're making it into the playoffs. Like,
going into next week, you do need the superstar next week. No, you've got the Titans at home. But going into Houston, going into Green Bay, you'd like to have a boost to your pass rush in those games. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, I wholeheartedly believe Brad Holmes is going to bring a piece, if not a couple pieces, to help that pass rush. But let's go to break. I got to tell you about Lady Jane's. Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a $20 haircut special, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Just scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and WoodwardSports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go!
To prove that you can get just as strong at Planet Fitness, we're seeing if people can tell the difference between our 75-pound dumbbell and a 75-pound dumbbell from an overpriced competitor gym. Okay, the old flick test, that never fails.
There's literally no difference.
Plus, you can save $28 or more when you join today. Wow.
Why would I pay more to lift the same weights?
It's the Planet Fitness Strong Choice Sale. Save $28 or more. Join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. Planet Fitness. Light price, strong choice.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Salvation Army, guys, if you're looking for a way to give back to the community but you don't know how, visit registerthering.com. The Red Kettle campaign starts November 7th, but you guys can start donating or helping donate immediately online with registerthering.com. It begins November 7th all the way to Christmas Eve, not excluding Thanksgiving or excluding Thanksgiving and Sundays. What up, though? Welcome back to Whatever Waits Live on WoodwardSports.com. Your boy Easy Joe, my guy Raxter,
What up,
Chris,
though?
Nicholas Kohloff, a.k.a. Microwave Nick. See a couple comments on Woodward Sports chat, and that's what I was doing during break. Sorry, Chris, for figuring it out there, but people get mad about the golf game manager tag. That's not a bad thing.
It's not.
Tom Brady, the man with the most Super Bowl rings at the quarterback position in the history of the NFL, was a bit of a game manager. You make the right play. You make the right throw. Being game manager isn't bad when you have a good team around you, and you got a good system. Because JG has both those things.
You need it. That's all you need Goff to be as a game manager.
Yesterday when he missed Khalif Raymond, the only time of the day I got pissed at Goff.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, but you've been winning the game incrementally. He 10 yards here, 10 yards here. Obviously, the 30-plus yard bomb to Amon-Ra St. Brown, leaves wide open. But at that point, just keep doing what you're doing because it's working. How many times you see people kind of talking shit about Tom Brady and they throw the highlights of him throwing to the flats? That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's the open guy in the play.
Yes.
And guess what that guy's job is after he catches that football? Make a man miss.
Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl as a game manager.
He absolutely did.
Yep.
If you got the system and you got the pieces, there's nothing wrong with being a game manager.
No.
Nick?
Did you guys hear Terry Bradshaw actually compared Jared Goff to Tom Brady?
That's the one.
I mean, yeah.
Terry Bradshaw on national, obviously, Super Bowl champion Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah.
The conversation for it to click for me for the Super Bowl run like this year, other than the defensive line, I think we got that with DJ Reader too. But when we played the clip of Tom Brady, and he talked exactly what helped him win 7 rings, the cohesiveness, like being within that system, being within the same guys, and that way you can point to similar situations that they're familiar with, that you had failure or success in, and you could then turn around and make that play a positive. That's what Jared Goff is in right now. That's the way Jared Goff is balling right now.
Yeah.
This numbers he's doing right now, career high percentage, the perfect halves, it's uncharted territory. It's not I told you so. This is an evolution. The offense 4-1 that we've been expecting and wanting to see since the beginning of the season. It took a little bit of time because I think they got a little overzealous with Jameson Williams. I'm not mad at him about it either. Jameson Williams is a bad man. But now they're falling back into routine. You're seeing some shit that we've never seen before. At least that I've never seen before. I know some of you guys are older than me and whatever else. But at the National Football League level, the pro level, Jared Goff's doing the goddamn thing. And yes, I think it could lead to Super Bowl.
Yes.
Brad Holmes is fall through on his part.
I agree. It's not a bad thing. And like you said, and Elgato says it, we need an edge rusher. This is not sustainable. For sure.
Oh, he actually did that?
Yeah.
No, that was for the Super Chat.
Oh.
Shout out Gato.
Yeah, and Jared Goff didn't look like a game manager in the last game. I'll tell you that. He was out there making elite quarterback throws. Was ripping the ball all around the field. It was an impressive one. We've already talked about that.
I don't understand how this is being perceived as hate.
Who cares?
I literally just said they'd win the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah, who cares?
Jesus Christ.
And again, we just point out that this season, he's handling the pressure well. He's doing those other things well. That he's still a game manager. He didn't change into Patrick Mahomes overnight, but he's doing things a little more outside the system than he needed to before, running and stuff. So that's all you can ask for and more.
I don't really care. Call him what you want. I call him 5-1 and the quarterback of the best team in the NFL. I don't give a shit. Let's talk about other guys that really impacted these games. Just heroes, not unsung heroes. And we can start on offense. We already talked about Jared Goff. He was a top 3 player in this game. Jahmyr Gibbs. What Jahmyr Gibbs was doing to this Vikings defense, what he has continued to do to this Vikings defense in his young career, has been nothing short of amazing. He really picked up. Obviously, David Montgomery left the game early with the injury, was kind of ginger when he got back in. Jahmyr Gibbs took that torch. You saw Sonic out there getting his rings. It was just so beautiful seeing him gash this vaunted Vikings defense. And I don't say that jokingly because the Vikings have a very, very good defense. And Jahmyr Gibbs was out there splitting them apart, just going right down the middle. I loved seeing it. He is one of, if not the most elusive running back in the NFL. His body control in tight spaces is something out of movies. Like you compared him to Barry Sanders last year based on how he can make people miss and maneuver around, and it really is like that. I love seeing Jahmyr Gibbs and these long stretch zone runs out to the edge where you get the linebackers and the secondary all running sideways. Jahmyr Gibbs waits, sees that small opening between defenders and attacks it, and his burst in the hole pause is elite. It is extremely impressive to see what he's been doing. This game was Jahmyr Gibbs putting the team on his back after David Montgomery goes down. David Montgomery gets hurt. We know this game or this team is predicated off of the run. Jahmyr Gibbs takes that torch and is running the ball down their throats. Just a beautiful game for Ja.
Sonic. Big time to step up, too. I get there's probably a little bit of anxiety there as well. I mean, maybe not so. He performed big moments last year, but just like you lose your teammate, probably one of your best buds because he's there in that locker room with you, at least in the running back room, going over film with Scotty Montgomery and whatnot. It's got to affect you at an emotional level at some point. Now, obviously, thank God he came back, but Ja didn't flinch at the moment, and he continued to gash them. I think he just moved to 5.7 yards average per carry, which I think he may be higher than last year. He's almost, at this point in this season, he's almost at half the mark he was in his first year. Almost hit 1,000 yards last year in just 7 games. Oh, I'm sorry, 6 games.
Yeah.
In just 6 games. He's halfway. It's like, what, 945? He's at, what, 2 or 4 something? 460 something, I think it is. He is fucking, he's the man. And I told you this, by the way. This is what we said Friday. This is one of the guys expected to play. We talked about it during the game, too, if you guys were watching the watch party. If he's the guy, you're going to blitz as many people as you're going to blitz. Out of the linebacking core, out of the secondary. John makes one guy miss, and there's no one else there to make up for that. He's going to get you.
He is.
And you saw it yesterday. Another situation. We talked about that happening, him having a good game through the passing. And the flats. Again, you're taking your linebackers, you're taking your secondary, you're bringing those extra men down to help rush the quarterback, a quarterback who knows where every single one of his landmarks are going to be. He's been a part of this offense for 3 years now, and not only just a part of this offense for 3 years, but executing, delivering good games in this offense for 3 years now. He's going to find Ja in every single moment. Matter of fact, I think in the post game, Goff mentioned that. It's like he was there in the flats on every single play almost. He could have been the check down merchant in every single play if he wanted to. If he didn't. He looked on the field because he knew where everyone's going to be. But yeah, Ja ate him up there. Ja absolutely ate him up there. If you speak your piece, I want to speak another piece of this draft class too.
No, just real quick on Ja. And
take your time.
He was making the right reads yesterday. I thought that was really big. He was taking what was given to him, which sometimes you saw in his rookie year. He was not, maybe he was kind of rushing things like we've seen in the past for Ja. But I thought he was making the right reads, hitting the right holes in this game, which was so impressive. And we talked about just the pace he's on this season. Literally on pace to put up over 1,700 total yards and 17 touchdowns. That's absolutely insane. And that's the reason you draft him in the top 12 as an offensive weapon, because it takes your offense, the number 1 offense in all of football, to a whole different level. That's what I just wanted to hit on that on Ja.
It really does. You got the best running back tandem in the NFL, and it's not close. And now you got them locked down for a couple more years. You put these guys behind the offensive line in the scheme that Ben Johnson has designed for them. It has been nothing short of amazing. So shout out to Jahmyr Gibbs for really stepping up when you need him to. Because I'm not going to lie, seeing David Montgomery go down made me very nervous. He has been extremely, extremely good for the Lions this year. We talked about him being a top 5 running back on the year so far, and Ja stepped up when you needed him to in the passing game as well, which is something that Easy was talking about, him leaking out. You saw a lot of check downs to Jahmyr in the flats where he goes out there and he gets yards after catch. Beautiful game by him.
Another guy I want to talk about in that same draft class, and maybe he's not going to give due credit because we're up against a break right here, but I'll tease it a little bit. We talk about Jared Goff MVP. And that's never been a Defensive Player of the Year award. That's never been that. It's always been, now, mostly quarterbacks. I think Adrian Peterson's the last one to touch it as a non-quarterback. Go to the defensive side of the ball, Defensive Player of the Year. Aiden Hutchinson was that candidate for us.
God damn.
Maybe entering the conversation is another Detroit Lion and Brian Branch. 4 interceptions now on the season, tying his teammate Kirby Joseph. That's his second in the league. Both our safeties are tied for. That hasn't been done since, I believe, it was like Joe Schmidt in like the 1950s.
Shout out.
And guess what the Lions did in the 1950s? Guess what Joe Schmidt and the Lions did in the 1950s?
They won championships.
Won championships.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that more when we get back. But first, I got to tell you guys about Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law. Did your wife say game manager is a derogatory term? Is that just non-football brain? Do you want to divorce her now? Call Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law. Scan the QR code above my head or dial 248-971-0476. Kevin and Catherine, 10 plus years experience, 24/7 availability. If you tell them the heavyweight sent you, they'll pay your first time filing fee. It's Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Hamp for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
Dispo Dispensary is not only today and tomorrow, with no incentives attached, giving you $15 off any purchase you make, but also giving you the opportunity to win free bud, free weed, free wacky jabaki, free cannabis, free tree, free grass, free whatever you want to call it, for a year. Just scan the QR code above my head. Terms and conditions do apply, but it's Dispo Dispensary to offer you 3 bud for a year. It's Dispo Dispensary, your local cannabis plug. What up, though? Welcome back to Whatever Waits Live, WoodSports.com. I'm Easy, joined by some more Raxter. I'm Chris Nicholas Kohloff, a.k.a. Microwave Nick, and it feels gross that we haven't talked about this gentleman yet, but Brian Branch. If I'm not mistaken, I got to look it up to be factual, but I believe he leads the league in pass deflections. Second in the league in pass deflections. There was multiple times in that game. You saw him either make a play on the ball in a deflection, but you all see him run close, stuff runs, or at least get his hands on the running back to slow it down so DJ Reader or Levi or whoever else it may be can clean it up from there. He's everywhere. Brian Branch is an absolute fucking nuisance. Brian Branch, I finally got to address it with Herman yesterday. Happy belated birthday to Herman Moore, the legendary one and only.
Herman.
But we were on this podcast yesterday talking about it. You know who he comped him to, Spinny? Troy Polamalu. And I feel vindicated. Not just by Herman's words in itself, because obviously he played the game, but also by the fact that this guy went and had another game, another phenomenal game. And he could have had a touchdown return for on a fumble recovery too.
Yep.
This guy, Brian Branch, Jared Goff in the MVP conversation, without a doubt. Brian Branch in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation as well. By the way, second in the league in those pass deflections while missing a game against the Seattle Seahawks, where the ball was thrown like 60 times. I'm sure we would have got a hand on a couple of those too.
Yeah, he's second in the NFL in pass defenses with 12. He's second in the NFL in interceptions with 4. This is a guy, again, he had 2 of those pass defense in this game against Minnesota. He had 1 of the interceptions, had 4 tackles. He was everywhere. This guy is playing like a first-team All-Pro. This guy, if he continues to play at this level, will be a first-team All-Pro, and he will be in the contention for Defensive Player of the Year. The instincts he has on where the ball is going to go, what the offense is trying to do, and just the overall game-breaking, game-wrecking abandon that he plays the game with are so fun to watch. They make him such a devastating player for other teams because you can do everything right. You can scheme up a perfect play, but then you just have the God-given talent, tenacity, and timing of Brian Branch to break something up. He is one of the most important players in the NFL. And Brian Branch being on this team, especially now with the loss of Aiden Hutchinson, your secondary is going to have to be a lot better because they're not going to have, or the opposing quarterback's going to have a lot more time to sit back there and wait for guys to get open. Brian Branch has stepped up big this year, and it's beautiful to see what he's doing on the football field.
Nick?
This is one of those things where it's like you just have to say you watch the tape. When he ran his 40-yard line or 40-yard dash at the combine, it was a 4.58, and it just wasn't real from where you compare it to his tape coming out of Alabama.
Yeah.
The dude's closing speed was unreal. His athleticism showed on tape. Maybe not when he was in his underwear running the 40-yard line, But when you think about a difference maker on this defense, on this back end, it's just describing Brian Branch. He was my favorite pick within that draft because I thought he was getting hosed by all the scouts strictly based on one thing, and it was his 40-yard dash time. Has he ever looked slow to you guys ever out on the football field?
No.
And then he's he's mossing people every week at this point.
Yeah.
He baits quarterbacks and then he mosses them. He's a big difference maker, and I think the biggest reason why this defense has taken a really big step forward when it comes to getting turnovers and putting pressure on other teams' quarterbacks.
His body control and anticipation of throws are elite when it comes to NFL players. He puts himself in situations where he makes the quarterback think the wide receiver is open, think they have enough room to put the ball in there, feather it over Brian Branch, and then, like you said, he takes a couple steps back and he makes insane acrobatic interceptions. We saw a guy, now I don't want to put him in the same category because I think Brian Branch is going to have a better career than this guy, but this was similar to what Nnamdi Asomugha was doing when he was at the peak of his powers those couple years. He would make quarterbacks feel like guys were open, and then he'd take a step back and make an insane diving interception. Brian Branch is doing that while bringing the boom. Shout out Jake Bates, bringing the boom after his game-winning touchdown, or his game-winning field goal. But he is one of the most complete players in the NFL, and it's so awesome to watch him continue to grow. And like you said, he came into the league with a fucking chip on his shoulder. 32 teams passed over him. Nobody said this guy was a first-round draft pick. He was the only player left in the green room that second day of the draft, and he wants to make a point to prove that every single GM in the NFL made the wrong choice by passing on him. And right now, he is making that point.
Yeah. Brian Branch is, so a little bit before the break, a lot of it just now. I fucking love this kid. I still think Kirby Joseph has a super high ceiling too, but I'm glad I had somebody like Herman Moore to second that as our version of Troy Polamalu. And then again, I think the conversation with Kirby still continues to be our version, and maybe a poor man's version, because quite possibly maybe the best safety to ever play the game, Ed Reed. And I don't think he's going to slow down his trajectory either. And especially the way this defense, if we continue to stop the run, if we can find a way, and I don't know what it's going to look like moving forward. I feel two different ways about the game against Aaron Jones. Yes, there was the big gash, and that was Ontario and Arnold. But I want to see this, obviously we want to see more sample sizes of it. They continue to stop the run. But if that ball is going to fly in the air as much as they want it to, I think Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch continue to make plays on that ball. And one of them, if not both of them, are going to end up on an all-pro team.
Yes. I believe they both will be all-pros this year. I just love it. I just love it. This guy is everything that you want out of a player in Detroit. He embodies the grit and the tenacity of this city. Brian Branch is going to be, he's already a fan favorite, and he's going to be for a long time because he's just so fun to watch. The explosiveness, and the aggression that he plays with are second to none on this team.
Is he the best defensive player on this team right now?
Yes, by far.
Who's second best, Kirby?
Probably Kirby. Maybe Carlton is up there as well.
Carlton, man.
DJ Reader.
Pleasant surprise.
Enzo had a good game again.
A lot of people didn't like the Carlton Davis acquisition either.
I talked about it on the post game show at Hayes Social. Make sure you come out and join us. 1,800 girls will be there next week. We went out there and we acquired veterans in every level of this defense, and I think that's something that's being slept on. You've got DJ Reader now in the defensive line. You've got Alex Anzalone in the linebacking core and Carlton Davis in the secondary. These are guys that not only produce at an extremely high level, those are three of your best five defenders on this team right now. They are guys that hold other players accountable. They're teaching the young guys. How important do you think the Carlton Davis signing was to the development or the future development of a Terrion Arnold and an Ennis Rakestraw? How important do you think the DJ Reader signing is to the development of an Aleem McNeil? They added pieces in here that not only compete and play at a high level, but have the knowledge and the experience in their craft to help these younger guys move along as their careers progress.
Nick?
No, I mean, there's no other way around it. You're right. And I want to, what was your Bucks, the guy the Cannons one? He was kind of trashing Carlton when he picked him up. maybe that was
Sammer.
a little bit of, letting one of your own guys go. And
So was my guy Trevor. He's like, yeah, I mean,
yeah, he was on allegedly a downward, decline there. But, this defense looks a lot different if Carlton Davis isn't here. Like, I believe Brad Holmes, when he did say cornerback snob, he's kind of proven to be with his 2 moves. Like we talked about, Terrion's gotten better every single week. He did have that one lapse in the run game, but it's going to happen. You're a rookie. Obviously, don't let it happen again. It's a big gash. That was a big play in that game. But I believe with these 2 guys stepping up, the only thing that you need to do now is go get that, Aiden Hutchinson or somebody, a step below that level to make them look better, where you're not relied on to cover for 5-6 seconds. Like, Sam Darnold had a lot of time back there, fellas. When do you think a move gets made? Do you think it is closer to the deadline, like
Yes.
right up to it? Or do you think that they make this move, kind of soon here?
They're going to make it closer to the deadline for sure. It's not going to be for another 2 weeks.
Brad Holmes is going to do his homework. He's going to do his due diligence. They're not going to rush into anything. They know the closer they make that deal to Aiden Hutchinson's injury, it looks like a weakness, a sign of weakness in the eyes of other teams. If we wait to the deadline, it's kind of like we've been poking around, and just we're shopping for the best, best option. And that's truly what they are. They are shopping the best option. That's the way Brad Holmes operates. It's probably close. It'll probably be next week.
It will be. It's definitely going to be after the Titans game. If like at the very least after the Titans game, they're not going to make a move before next week. But I just love the way this defense is playing, man, and you need to reward the secondary. Brad Holmes is the best singular entity at identifying and acquiring defensive back talent in the NFL. You look at the pieces that he's brought in with a Terrion Arnold and what he's become right in front of our eyes in the NFL. Carlton Davis playing at an extremely high level, and then you have the best safety tandem in the NFL. Like Brad Holmes said, he was defensive back snob, and he's proving that those words are true. We're going to go to break real quick. We're going to come back. We're going to talk more Lions. But first, let me tell you about Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness, no matter where you are, there's Planet Fitness close by. More than 15 Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a friendly, knowledgeable staff, and a totally judgment-free atmosphere. And did you know that all memberships include fitness training for no extra cost? You want to upgrade to the Black Card to get you some amenities like hydro massage, total body enhancement, tanning beds, and access to over 2,500 locations worldwide. You can do that. For more information or join today, go to Planet Fitness or planetfitness.com, where your fitness is essential.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Is that an octopus in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? See what I did there? Go Red Wings! From Octopi Experts, Woodward Sports.
The Woodward Sports live watch party and post-game show are only at Hayes Social for every single Detroit Lions game. Presented by New Holland Brewing Company, Sabbath Coffee Roasters, Soroki Crispy Chicken and Pizza, and 1800 Tequila. Come out and join us this weekend as Detroit Lions wipe the field with the Tennessee Titans. It's going to be a blast. Like I said, live at Hayes Social. Come join us for the watch party and the post-game show. Presented by New Holland Brewing, Sabbath Coffee Roasters, Soroki Crispy Chicken and Pizza, and 1800 Tequila.
What up, though? Welcome back to Whatever Waits Live on sports.com. He's joined by Spinball Raxter, young Chris, Nicholas Kohloff, a.k.a. Microwave Nick. Real quick, Caesar Meza says the guys in Green Bay is a better safety tandem than our guys, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph. I'm sorry.
It's incorrect.
It's incorrect. You could maybe have a conversation where Xavier McKinney holds weight over Kirby Joseph, maybe off of just name value.
Yes.
But even look at the past 3 years, no one has had more interceptions and pass deflections then Kirby Joseph at the safety position.
Yeah.
That includes Xavier McKinney.
Xavier McKinney's having a fantastic year.
He's having a good year.
And if you want to say he's the best out of everybody, you have an argument for it. But the Lions tandem is better, and it's not close.
Yeah, by far. Brian Branch, there's no one in the Green Bay Packers will forever regret the opportunity they could have had in drafting Brian Branch.
Yep.
That, matter of fact, if you're a Green Bay fan, one of your guys' biggest representatives, Tom, whatever the hell his last name is, harps on that I see him all the time tweeting and complaining about Brian Branch. Even his little bits that he does complains about the fact they traded away from drafting Brian Branch to the Detroit Lions of all teams. But you guys want to hear me be wrong? You guys want to be fulfilled? It's time for a new segment on this show, at least, where we were right and where we were wrong. Spinning, you want to lead us off?
Yeah, sure. I didn't grab the video of it because I didn't feel like going back and digging through all the footage. But before the season started, I said that this Detroit Lions offense was going to be historic. Not good, not elite, not one of the best of the year, but a historic offense in the pantheon of football. And it took a little bit, but they are becoming that. Can you throw up that one graphic, the 4-game one where it's just the two big numbers? This is something that we've never seen done before in the NFL, and that by itself equals historic. In the last 4 games, they have 18 offensive touchdowns, and Jared Goff has only thrown 16 incompletions. They're the only team in NFL history to have more offensive touchdowns than incompletions in a 4-game span since the merger. This is one of the most complete offenses the NFL has ever seen. They finally caught their stride, and they're playing at a historic pace. If they keep up what they are doing for the rest of the year, they will go down as the best offense in the history of the NFL. It's just absolutely insane, the pace that Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, these guys are playing at like I said that. I said they were going to go down with the greatest show on turf. They were going to go down with that Denver offense with Peyton Manning. And it took 2 weeks, really, for them to figure out the kinks. But now they are performing as they should, like a well-oiled machine. Since the merger, they're the only team to do that. We put up the stats earlier about Jared Goff and his 4-game span being one of only 3 quarterbacks to post 140-plus QBR in 3 straight games in NFL history, and he's probably going to do it again next week against the Titans. It's insane, the pace they're playing at. It is truly offense 401. It is truly a masterclass in all things offensively, and shout out to Ben Johnson, Jared Goff, and every weapon that has made it possible.
Where you were wrong.
That's all I got.
You're just right?
I just did the right one, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
The arrogance.
You can't do that.
I just did the right one.
You got to do where you were wrong.
I don't know. Let me think about it.
All right. All right. Made a mistake there. Going to him first.
Yeah.
Where your boy was right. You guys probably hate to hear this one, but if you go back to Thursday's show, Friday's show, the numbers we gave you, even during the By the Numbers segment, there's a lot of Jared Goff love in there. The 70% completion percentage that he holds against Brian Flores, while in a Detroit Lions uniform, stays true after last night's game. Matter of fact, 88% in that game, and projecting himself to the MVP conversation. He's projecting to finish the season with 4,500-plus yards. He's not only just he's using every single weapon at his disposal. Like yesterday, Khalif Raymond caught a touchdown. We saw Sam Laporta catch a touchdown last week. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, obviously some trick plays in there too, affording our guy Jahmyr Gibbs a receiving touchdown. But he's using every weapon to his availability. He knows where his landmarks are. The Jared Goff, where I was right, he was going to be pivotal in this Vikings game. And the only reason why I like to flex that one is because for even some of the guys I respect in the business, we're talking about JG being flustered underneath this Brian Flores defense. And I'm like, what are we doing? Brian Flores called the same style of defense forever. Like it's never really switched up. And he's Jared Goff, while in the Detroit Lions uniform, tag team to Ben Johnson, never performed bad against that defense. He's always dominated against Brian Flores. So that's a big flex of where I was right. Where I was wrong, I said, another piece I'll save for next time if we do this round again. But where I was wrong is I told you Jameson Williams was going to be a big factor in that game as well. I thought Jameson Williams was going to catch a few balls. I look back last year, I saw he had 5 targets, and that season was, I think, the most he was ever targeted in a game was against the Minnesota Vikings the first time around. I expect him to be the same this year. There were times when Jared Goff could have thrown to him, opted not to, and who am I to complain about that? I'm not, by the way, but who am I when he's, 22 or 25 on the night. Jared Goff made the right decisions, got to the right guys. But Jameson Williams, I thought, especially against cover zero, he was going to catch those guys bleeding. And we did catch him bleeding against cover zero with Amon-Ra St. Brown on that touchdown. But I thought Jameson Williams, I thought he was going to have 70-plus yards. It is what it is. 4 or 5 games he did it. Now it's 4 or 6. I still expect him to have a good season.
All right, I'll say where I was wrong.
Where I was wrong
before the season started, I projected that Jared Goff would have more interceptions this year. That Jared Goff would be at a less efficient rate just because of the emergence of Jameson Williams and taking shots down the field, which I expected to see in this offense with Jameson Williams, that when you take more shots down the field, you're more than likely gonna miss a few of them, and that by itself would cause more interceptions. Obviously, I was wrong. Jared Goff is playing the most efficient football of his life, and he is the most efficient quarterback in the NFL.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
100%.
Nick?
Yeah. Sorry.
Where I was right.
On the hot dogs.
Yeah,
Sorry.
right.
Not a lot to choose from.
Yeah, where I haven't been most
easy to
likely.
find.
Before the season, I did not buy into the New York media hype about the New York Jets, and now 2-5, 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers has driven that whole entire franchise into the ground, which they already were, but he has a worse winning percentage than Zach effing Wilson. We all thought was absolutely terrible, but Aaron Rodgers has burnt the Jets into the ground. I was right on the Jets. Where I was wrong, I honestly thought this was a 50-50 toss-up, this Vikings-Lions game. I thought the loss of Hutch was going to come really big, where we weren't going to be able to get to Sam Darnold. We were able to make plays, and I did pick the Vikings to win. I locked the Vikings, but I am also the coldest guy maybe in the ever to wear the hot dog suit right now. So my picks, there was a little bit of reverse psychology there. It worked. I am happily in this suit for you guys, and I will be.
Spin.
I will. Spin the block.
Big
Let's go.
spin.
No, you're just trying to spin your own
Big
take.
spin on the narrative.
Chris, where were you right?
Where was he wrong?
Well, yeah. I mean, come on, that'd probably be an easier list. But this one I have to say is bittersweet, obviously, given the circumstances. But where I was right was we did our drafts before the season for Defensive Player of the Year, and I took one, Aiden Hutchinson. I knew he was going to be a Defensive Caliber of the Year player. I knew he was going to be. Everybody in this room had him on the short list, but so I can't really take too much credit for that. But I was really a firm believer in it, and he was obviously a runaway favorite for Defensive Player of the Year. That is something that I was right. Unfortunately, the injury makes it a little bittersweet. Where I was wrong sticking with the defense, and where I was dead wrong is I said that this Lions defense would be top 10 if a certain X factor by the name of James Houston stepped up to the plate. And I was wrong, because this is a top 10 defense without Houston even in the rotation, even doing really anything for this team. So a pleasant wrong, but I was wrong there in his importance to this team.
Yeah, James Houston.
I was wrong on Houston as well.
I gave him. I said he could get 10 sacks. I did. I looked at that production. I got tantalized by a sample from his rookie season, and unfortunately he wasn't there. But I can't complain, because the way this team is performing.
Where I was right,
can't complain.
Jahmyr Gibbs. That's the other guy I said that had a big game that year, or yesterday.
Let him cook.
And it happened. We talked a little bit about it earlier, but if you're going to blitz as many people as you do, Jahmyr Gibbs is a deadly, deadly, deadly weapon. 160 total yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs is an absolute weapon. He had fucking Sonic highlights going against the best Vikings defense in the NFL. And actually, I'm not even going to air quote that. The Vikings are a good team. Obviously, it came down to what it came down to. They got a defensive touchdown against us. They are good. But Jahmyr Gibbs, Jared Goff, Ben Johnson, a little bit better. Jahmyr Gibbs, where I was right. Where I was wrong, what did I write down for this one?
I got mine to tail off yours if you're looking for it.
I got 2 more.
Okay. Actually, I'll say this one. Now, look at you, Spinning, when I say this one. The Michigan State Spartans. I made sure to speak up towards the end of last Friday's show and say I don't think they're winning this one. I think Iowa's got them, and I was wrong.
Yeah. Plays perfectly into mine, because where I was right, I gave you guys this game before the season started. Michigan State would beat Iowa. I said that. I stood on it. I was called crazy. I was laughed at. I was laughed out of the studio. I had faith in my Spartans. I knew this was going to happen. Like I said, though, I said it multiple times. The only reason they lost to these corn-fed bums was last year they had White Jordan back there have a miraculous punt return touchdown in Cooper DeJean. I knew Michigan State was going to win this game.
Where was this guy wrong?
Where I was wrong was Aaron Jones being shut down by this Lions defense. Obviously, we talked about it. It was a big run that got him the biggest chunk of that yards, one play, 34 yards. But as Easy put, he was still 4.5 yards a carry, which is not a familiar sight for this Lions defense. Aaron Jones had himself a pretty good day.
Where I was wrong, Michigan football, just honestly despicable. Like, I can't even watch them anymore. This team doesn't fight for Sharon Moore specifically. I was wrong on Moore. He didn't go out and get a quarterback when he needed to. And I thought your elite defensive talent within Mason Graham, Will Johnson, Kenneth Grant, and on offense, Colson Loveland, 4 projected first-rounders, were going to be enough to carry you through this season.
Go White, baby.
And that was just obviously not the case. You just lost at Illinois. You lost at Washington. And I'm not feeling good about this matchup against a Sparty team that's coming off the biggest win of their season against Iowa.
Where I was right was with which back would have the game, and I did it in my touchdown parlay that ended up cashing out. Is I just felt like there was no real reason to it. There was no rhyme or reason to it. I just felt like the hot pace that Montgomery was on, he was bound to have a game where he didn't get in the end zone, because otherwise this guy was going to finish the season with 37 touchdowns. Like, he's just been on a crazy pace. So I felt like this was a Gibbs game. We talked about it a little bit on Friday about how he can really eat in the open field, and this kind of matchup favored him. And that was where I was right. I said take a slight under on him, and I'd stay away from putting him in any props, and that ended up being right.
Yep. Well, we got to go to break. We'll come back. We can take some mail sack questions in the chat. We can talk about the Michigan State hate week. You know what it is. I'm ready to clap some Wolverine ass this weekend. But first, let me tell you about Sabbath Coffee. Fuel your Lions fandom with the perfect cup and become a subscriber of Sabbath Coffee Roasters. Whether you are gearing up for the big game or savoring a quiet morning, Sabbath Coffee Roasters has you covered with fresh, locally roasted specialty coffee delivered right to your door. Head to SabbathCoffeeRoasters.com, choose your favorite roast, use code word Woodward to get 25% off your first subscription order. Awake, unwind, support local, and enjoy game day right with Sabbath Coffee Roasters.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Listen, guys, if you had a good weekend like me, want a little extra cheddar through seasons and looking to spend it, get some Detroit swag. Support the best Detroit sports network, Woodward Sports. Click that shop tab today. They got hoodies, tees, hats, all that guaranteed to turn heads. So head on over to woodwardsports.com, click that shop tab today, and get yourself some brand new merch.
What up, welcome back to Whatever Waits Live on WoodwardSports.com. I'm Easy Spin More Action, Chris Nicholas Kohloff, a.k.a. Microwave Nick. Smash that like button, be a friend, tell a friend, share the stream. It's time for our mailbag segment. First question up, Spinny.
Yeah.
Will there be a Michigan versus Michigan State watch party?
I don't know. I'd set the powers at B. That is not up to me. I'm going to be watching it. You better believe that.
We'll be there if there is.
Yeah.
Second
Bring a
mailbag.
growler from Coonan.
What's a realistic trade for the Detroit Lions? I think it's Darius Smith.
I think any trade is realistic, honestly, when you look
yeah.
at it. Like even Max Crosby and Myles Garrett, how you want to dissect those. Those are realistic trades for teams that are trying to win a Super Bowl. In the situations that both teams are in, they're realistic.
If I had to make a prediction, probably Darius Smith.
Shout out Gun Guy. Take your pants off.
I'm going to guess somewhere around like a 6th round, maybe a 5th. Maybe Josh Uche looking like a 4th round. Maybe a 5th there too. I mean, probably more so a 4th round.
Yep.
Realistic. Why? I want to speak it in reality. Probably Miles Garrett.
Daryl Slaughter in the Woodward Sports chat. Probably the best defensive back name ever. If you were a defensive back, that would fit very well. Daryl Slaughter.
That is yeah.
Mailbag. Any
Sergeant
predictions on the
Slaughter.
Pistons season? I'm a little bullish on them. I'm thinking 8 seed or play-in. I got them at 35+ wins.
I don't think that's bullish. I think that's optimistic.
I think that's optimistic as well. I think this team is going to go out there and they're going to win some games. 35 wins is what I got them at. I don't know who the 8 seed was last year and what their win total was.
It was Atlanta with 36.
Okay.
Let me fact check that, but I'm almost positive.
I could throw them right in that mix.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're going to be just a hair out of that. I think they really can in April play meaning games, late March, early April. I think that's possible. I think if the season breaks right for this team, they can come down to the last couple weeks. And part of it is because obviously this team is improved. You don't have a terrorist as a head coach. You have a lot more structure in the organization. You have a guru assistant coach that is widely regarded. All of those things. But also for me, the big thing is we're just going to see a lot of those teams tanking. And I think the Pistons are the one team, while their record or their team status may look like they're a tanking team, I think they're going to be a team that's actually racking up wins later in the season, because this is a team and a franchise that knows they can't tank anymore. Those fans are not going to deal with it. This new regime is not going to deal with it. They are not necessarily trying to chase the 8th seed, but they're not going to mortgage their future for it, but they are definitely not in a position where they want to lose games. So I think they're gonna be right there.
Mailbag ETN. Which NFC North team will slip up first, and why is it the Bears?
It is the Bears.
Yeah, it's the Bears
because their offensive line.
Because their offensive line and the other ones they got the set from the Rams getting their win yesterday. Every single team they beat has 1 win this season, if I'm not mistaken. There was one more in there, and I apologize for missing it.
Hey, shout out ETN. Good luck on Thursday, though. Take care of the Vikings for the boys.
Yeah.
Love that. I mean, Cooper Kupp's back. That Lions hangover is real.
Home game.
Especially on a short week in Los Angeles, going across the country on a short week after playing the Lions. That could be they're going to be the Rams are going to be the underdog. I might put some serious money on the Rams.
If they're the underdog?
They're going to be the underdog.
Yeah.
Rams are plus 146 right now.
I might throw some cheddar on that. But Hawkinson's probably going to be back.
Mailbag, will your opinion of Brad Holmes change if he doesn't make a move before the deadline?
No, I'll just be disappointed.
Probably the same. Yeah, same as you.
Yeah, I'm not going to freak out over it again, but
I think it's phenomenal.
I would be extremely, extremely shocked if he did not make a move.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. More so disappointment. My opinion is he's phenomenal at building the foundation. We just got to see him cash one in before, I guess we could talk about the other stuff. We could just speak to him as a great drafter at that point. But unless we go on to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because he hasn't made those in-season trades yet that have really propelled you to anything. DPJ was a nothing burger last year, not even playing on this team this season, and we haven't seen him take that swing yet.
And they've all talked about it. They've all talked about it all year. Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. It doesn't matter if it's Sheila Ford Hamp, Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson. They've all mentioned it. And if you are realistically in thoughts of Super Bowl and you get hurt in the, your defensive player of the year goes down, and you hear your head coach saying, we need more out of this defensive line unit.
You got to get him more.
It's going to happen. You got to
get him more. Would you trade Hooker to the Browns or Raiders plus low round picks for Premier Edge? It's going to take more than that.
I would take that 1,000%. I've been saying Hendon Hooker, 2 first-round picks, and a 5th-round pick for Max Crosby and Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, I think the Browns are kind of in a situation where they kind of need to address their quarterback. I don't know if Hooker's a piece they move, but yeah, I'd be down to trade Hooker if that's what it took.
Yes.
Again, this is Super Bowl bust. I'm not really thinking about the future right now. Plus, everybody we got under contract.
Yeah, Away Fan says
Raiders just signed Desmond Ridder, so that's probably not going to be a thing.
Desmond Ridder?
Yeah.
Desmond Ridder sucks.
Off the Cardinals practice squad.
Literally the worst player in the NFL. Max, the Away Fan says, Spenny, what was your thoughts on the Wings performance on Saturday? Casper looks like he belongs with the big boys. It was a great performance. They fucking owned the Wild, apparently.
Preds.
Preds, sorry, not the Wild. Sorry, dominating Minnesota on the brain. But, yeah, they own the Predators so far this year. It's a great performance by the boys. Took care of business. Still like to see a little bit more of that power play. But that top defensive pairing being Seider and Edvinsson has looked good.
Crazy. Preds spend all that money in their offer.
Yes, I don't think Stamkos has a point yet.
That's insane. Right, got to keep it up. Got a game against the Islanders. I believe it's tomorrow night.
Is that team the Wings to shop at the deadline? A couple defenders from there?
I mean, they're supposed to be good this year. So.
Yeah, I mean, people get desperate.
Well, it's still so early. Nobody knows who these teams are. Nobody's talking about
This
shopping
one's from
yet.
the Ronan favorite lines play of the weekend.
Runyon.
Brian Branch interception, I think, for me.
Gibbs' run, that juke was amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
My favorite Lions play over this weekend was the Jake Bates game-winning field goal.
That to me too.
I was nervous. Easy was literally shaking next to me.
Yeah.
Everybody was nervous. You could hear a pin drop at Hayes Social, but he knocked it down. It was electric. But that'll do it for us today. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Hate week, go green, fuck blue.
Hate.
For Easy, for Nick, for Chris, I am Spencer. We are the Woodward Heavyweights. Spartan Dogs bringing it home. We're going to talk that throughout the week. Don't worry. We had to do a lot of lines today. We'll be back tomorrow. Peace.